Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to go and take a look at some weird Pokemon cards that have gone and turned up over in a card shop in Osaka over in Japan. Now, this is frankly a little bit weird, and we need to have a little bit of a chat about this. First time I saw these, I went, well, hang on a second. That can't be right. 500 yen? 800 yen? If these are weird, super rare test print cards, that can't possibly be right. And of course, it wasn't right. You see, in Japan, they have this little symbol here, which means 10,000. So it's not 500 yen, it's 510,000 yen. It's 5 million yen. And then 8 million yen. And then we go, oh, okay. Yeah, that seems a little bit more like it. Also, the fact that Japan counts in 10,000s is very confusing to me. It's not 28,000, it's 10,000, 8,000. I was in a Japanese lesson the other day. It took me some time to get my head around it. But what we have here are these two cards that are apparently 5 million yen and 8 million yen. Yeah, that's an expensive Pokemon card, although yes, we need to talk about the likelihood of them being real, etc. in a minute. We will get there. Don't worry your pretty little heads about it. But 5 million and 8 million yen, well, the cheaper card, the number one trainer, the one with the Executor on, the number 3 trainer, I should say, sorry. That is 5 million yen, which at today's exchange rate comes in at $32,600. I've rounded up from 32,582.27. I feel all right with that. 32,600 yen. That's the cheap card. The coughing card is 8 million yen, which is $52,000. Technically 52,126.70, but you know what? I'm going to round it to 52,000. I think that's okay. $52,000 for a card. Yeah, that's a lot. And look, we look at these expensive cards nowadays, these big, like, super expensive, super fancy cards. You know, anything that can come from a pack, for instance, $52,000 is absurd. You know, the Umbreon EX from Prismatic Evolutions, that is the biggest card you can really pull from a pack right now. And it's ridiculously expensive. It's like a $1,500 card. This is a $52,000 card. Absolutely absurd. But what are they, and how believable are they? Well, what we've got here are a number 3 trainer card and what looks to be a coughing. Anyone recognize where that coughing comes from? Anybody see where the coughing's from? It's from Pokemon Snap. So just straight off the bat here, we got a number 3 trainer prize card and we got a Pokemon Snap card. So, yeah, even if these weren't test cards, they would still be redonkulously expensive, but these are not just irregular cards. Because look at, well, there's a bunch of things to look at, but I think probably the most obvious thing here, look at the corners. Those are not the lovely rounded corners that we would generally expect to see from a regular Pokemon card. That is, in fact, very square corners. You know what Pokemon cards tend to have? Square corners? Yeah, test products. Now, also, and I understand that most of you probably aren't great up with your kanji right now, I would not expect you to be, but basically those 3 kanji that you see in the middle of the card there are basically C origin product. It's sample product. That's what those 3 kanji together mean. It is a sample product. And this is where I need to give a gigantic shout out to the lovely Antoine Boulet, who is both a great source of news and all things coming out of Japan, but also a good friend who keeps me honest. I thought these were test cards. Turns out they're actually not. Apologies to anyone who watched the earlier video, which was good, but there were a couple inaccuracies, hence fixing it here. because I don't just want to leave up an incorrect video. We're going to fix it. That's what we do here. And it turns out that essentially they're not test cards. This is what shops in Japan put on the shelf, because if a card is worth that much money, maybe you don't just leave it sitting on the shelf where anybody can go and grab it. Maybe you keep it in the back and you have a little sample just out the front so people know you've got the card. And people can go and buy the card if they wish, but you don't have to have a card that expensive sitting out in the open for fairly obvious reasons. Most people are nice, but you can't rely on everybody being nice. But I'm going to be honest with you, I have never seen these two cards for sale anywhere. Honestly, that makes this kind of cool. I want to know which card shop this is so I can go and pay them a little bit of a visit. So, why are these particularly expensive? Well, let's take the number 3 trainer card. It's a number 3 trainer card. And you don't need to be an expert on the Pokemon TCG to know that number 3 trainer cards are not just made available generally. These are official tournament promos. These are promos that are given out purely to people that go and, well, they don't win tournaments, but they go and get third place in tournaments. And there are many different versions of these which have been made available over the years. But this one is actually from the Tropical Mega Battle. This is a card, and shout out to Bulbapedia from where I got this image. This is a card that was actually given out. This was the number 3 trainer card that was given out at the Tropical Mega Battle back in 1999, a quarter of a century ago is when these were given out, I believe. I believe these ones are from back then. So, if this was just a regular number 3 trainer card, we're talking about a number 3 trophy card from 25 years ago that was given out in Japan, this would be a pretty big deal. So what about the Pokemon Snap Coughing? Well, this is another card that does actually exist. You see, there was a competition many years ago in Japan, in Korokoro Comic, where you got to submit your pictures from the Pokemon Snap video game, and there were 5 winners that each got 20 copies of their card, and they were printed as real Pokemon cards. But then they went and ran it back. TV Tokyo Variety Show 64 Mario Stadium also held one of these in May 1999, with another 5 winners, and only 15 of these were given to the winner, and there were 5 winners, including this coughing. So this coughing, assuming it, and this is why it's more expensive than the number 3 trainer, because obviously there's just fewer of them out there. I assume there's fewer of them out there. Probably actually pretty close, isn't it? Either way, they're both ridiculously rare cards, and these are apparently test prints thereof. That's what we're led to believe. And yeah, 5 million and 8 million yen, huge amount of money. But these are among the coolest and rarest Pokemon cards you're ever going to find. Like a number 3 trainer from a Tropical Mega Battle, and one of the 15 coughing that were made available to the... And you got to bear in mind, right, these are given out to people who won a contest a quarter of a century ago or thereabouts, maybe 20 years ago, but still, people who won a competition many years ago, they were not all kept in great condition. And this was long before everybody was tripping over themselves to try and get the rarest Pokemon cards and get them graded and all of that. No! These are just ridiculous cards. When I uploaded the video earlier, I suggested they may be test cards. Well, that was obviously incorrect. That was just my Japanese knowledge failing me for a moment. They are just samples that are essentially put there to advertise them. But I still thought it was cool showing you this. And editing the video into, exactly the same video, but just taking out their test cards and adding in that actually they're just incredibly cool, super rare and valuable cards. Because when was the last time you saw a Pokemon card sitting in a shop with a price on it of $52,000? When was the last time you saw a card in a shop that you could have paid $52,000 for? I'm going out on a limb and saying that you've probably never. There are not many cards around that are going to command that much money. And I kind of love that there's a shop out there that's just flexing and going, hey, we got 2 of them. That's pretty cool. So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these cards. Would you pick them up? Do you have $52,000 to spend on Pokemon cards? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.